My name is Bart Lee, and though the world often called me one of the youngest CEOs in the city, inside I carried a silence that no title or success could fill. Money had surrounded me with glass walls, elegant apartments, corner offices, restaurants where waiters bowed too deeply. Yet none of it could drown the echo of loneliness that followed me wherever I went. That evening, I sat at a small round table outside a cobblestone-lined cafe. The golden lamps flickered on as dusk painted the street with warm colors. My phone buzzed with unread emails, but I ignored it, focusing instead on the untouched dishes in front of me. Success had bought me comfort, but it had stolen the simple joy of sharing a meal. As I adjusted my navy jacket and picked up a fork, I noticed two little girls standing close to my table. They were like mirror images of each other, blonde curls, cream-colored dresses, and eyes so wide they seemed to carry stories too big for their tiny bodies. They weren't customers. They weren't passing by. They were staring at the plates on my table. Before I could speak, the smaller one took a nervous breath and whispered words that froze me mid-motion. "May we have your leftovers?" I set my fork down slowly, staring at them. My heart sank. These weren't just hungry children asking for scraps. There was something deeper in their eyes, something that felt strangely familiar. And as my gaze drifted beyond them, I saw her, a young woman standing a few steps back, her red dress modestly covering her frame. Her head was bowed, as if life had forced her to carry a weight far too heavy. Her presence unsettled me. It wasn't just pity or curiosity. It was recognition, as if destiny had tied a thread between us long before this night. For the first time in years, I pushed my plate forward, not as a CEO offering charity, but as a lonely man whose life was about to change. The twins rushed forward, their little hands trembling as they reached for the plate of pasta. They didn't eat like children who were simply greedy or spoiled. They ate like souls who hadn't known the comfort of a full stomach in far too long. Their tiny voices filled the air with shy giggles, yet I noticed how carefully they tried not to spill or waste a single bite. My chest tightened. I had sat across billion-dollar investors and ruthless board members, but never had I felt as small, as powerless, as I did watching two children treasure my leftovers. Behind them, the young woman in the red dress remained still, her posture straight yet heavy, as if she carried a dignity that poverty could not erase. Her dress, though plain, covered her completely, and the shadows of the streetlight traced a quiet resilience on her face. She didn't move closer. She didn't beg. She only stood guard, her eyes fixed on the twins like a shield. I rose from my chair, stepping toward her. "You should have joined them," I said gently. Her eyes lifted, and for the first time, I saw their color, deep, dark, and piercing, like the night sky itself. For a moment, I forgot the cobblestones beneath my feet, the noise of the street around us. Those eyes weren't unfamiliar. They felt like an echo, something buried in the folds of my memory. "My name is Kalpna," she said softly, her voice carrying both grace and exhaustion. "I don't take charity, sir. I only came to watch over them." Charity. The word cut deep. People always assumed everything I gave was out of abundance, out of arrogance. But tonight I hadn't felt like a CEO. I had felt like a man who wanted to share his table, his loneliness, with someone who understood it. "Then don't take charity," I replied, surprising myself. "Share a meal instead." For a heartbeat, silence lingered. Kalpna hesitated, her hand brushing the shoulder of one twin as if searching for strength. And when she finally stepped forward into the light, I realized something I hadn't dared believe. The twins didn't just carry hunger in their eyes. They carried my eyes. The realization struck me like lightning. Those wide, questioning eyes, the same faint amber flecks, the same restless way of searching the world. I had seen them every morning in the mirror for 35 years. I froze, my breath shallow. Your daughters, I whispered, my voice breaking against the edges of disbelief. They how? Kalpna's lips tightened, her chin lifting with a pride that refused to shatter. They are mine, she said firmly, though the tremor in her voice betrayed the storm beneath her calm. I knelt beside the twins as they clutched each other, little arms wrapped protectively, like they'd been forced to guard themselves against a crueler world than they deserved. What are your names? I asked gently. The taller one swallowed, pasta sauce staining her mouth. I'm Asha, she whispered. And I'm Amara, the smaller one added, hiding half her face against her sister's shoulder. Asha, Amara, names that carried hope and eternity. I repeated them in my heart, and something inside me softened, like a locked door creaking open after years of silence. But still, I couldn't tear myself from the truth staring at me. Their resemblance to me wasn't coincidence. And when my gaze shifted back to Kalpna, I caught the flicker of pain in her eyes, a pain that told me she knew I had noticed. Kalpna? I said slowly, my voice low. Where is their father? She faltered, her hands clenched, twisting the fabric of her modest red dress. That's a story, she murmured. I swore I'd never tell, not to a stranger. Stranger, the word stung, because somehow, in this moment, nothing about us felt like strangers. I leaned forward, my tone steady but not demanding. If I am who I think I am to them, then I'm no stranger at all. The twins looked up at us, confusion painted on their innocent faces. Kalpna's eyes shone with unshed tears, and I knew, before she even spoke, that my life was about to unravel in ways no boardroom, no contract, no empire had ever prepared me for. And when she finally parted her lips, her voice barely above a whisper, she said the words that made my knees weak. Bartley, they are yours. The night seemed to still around me, the laughter of the cafe fading into a dull hum as her words echoed. They are yours. I gripped the edge of the table, steadying myself. My empire had been built on certainty, numbers, contracts, strategies. But nothing could steady the chaos those 4 words unleashed inside me. Kalpna lowered her gaze, as if ashamed for the truth she had carried alone. The twins leaned into her sides, too young to understand the storm that was about to change all of our lives. My voice shook. Why didn't you tell me? Her eyes flickered up to mine, raw and unguarded. Because you left, Bartley. You left before you even knew what was growing inside me. I searched for you once, but the world had already built a fortress around your name. By the time I found a trace of you, you were no longer the man I had known. You were the CEO everyone bowed to. Her words cut deeper than any boardroom betrayal ever had. My memory pulled me back years, to a time before wealth had hardened me. I remembered a quiet night in a small town, when I had met Kalpna by chance. She was the girl in the library window, the one who laughed at my clumsy jokes, who believed in me before the world even knew my name. We were young, reckless, and alive. But then the call of ambition had pulled me away. I left without looking back, promising myself I'd return. I never did. Now, standing before me were the consequences of my absence. 2 beautiful daughters who had grown without knowing their father. I tried to breathe, my chest tight. I thought I had no one, that loneliness was my fate. And all this time, I looked at Asha and Amara, their little faces tilting up at me with innocent curiosity. All this time I had them. Kalpna's jaw trembled. I didn't want their lives tied to your wealth or your loneliness. They deserve love, not pity. The truth hit harder than any insult. She hadn't hidden them to punish me. She had hidden them to protect them. And for the first time in years, I felt something break inside me. Not the loneliness I had carried, but the wall I had built around my heart. I knelt down, meeting the twins' eyes. My eyes. I'm sorry, I whispered. I didn't know. But if you'll let me, I want to be here now. Kalpna's lips parted, as if to speak. But before she could, Asha tugged at my sleeve. Her small voice wavered, innocent yet sharp enough to pierce me through. Are you really our daddy? The question hung in the air like a fragile thread. One tug and it could either weave us together or tear us apart. I looked into Asha's hopeful eyes, then at Amara, who clung to her sister's hand so tightly her knuckles turned white. My throat ached. I had faced investors who gambled with millions, rivals who plotted my downfall, but never had I been so afraid of a single answer. I swallowed hard. Yes, I whispered, my voice breaking. Yes, I am your daddy. For a moment, silence. The world itself seemed to pause. And then, before I could brace myself, both girls flung their tiny arms around my neck. Their warmth hit me like sunlight pouring into a dark, empty room I had lived in far too long. I held them, and for the first time in years my loneliness cracked open. I wasn't Bart Lee, the CEO. I wasn't the man behind glass towers and endless meetings. I was just a father, one who had lost too much time but refused to lose another second. Kalpna's hand hovered near her lips, her eyes glistening. She tried to stay composed, but a single tear slid down her cheek. She quickly turned away, as though afraid her strength would shatter if she let me see her cry. I stood slowly, still holding the twins in my arms. Their laughter, pure and unburdened, filled the cobblestone street. I didn't know, I said to Kalpna, my voice hoarse. But now that I do, I'll never let them or you face the world alone again. Her gaze hardened, though the tears betrayed her. Bart Lee, you don't know what you're promising. You've lived in a world of wealth, of power. But ours is a world of survival. The girls have never known ease. They've never even slept in the same bed twice some weeks. The words cut deeper than I could bear. My daughters, my flesh and blood, had lived like wanderers, while I drowned in luxury. I can change that, I said firmly. Not with money alone, Kalpna. With presence. With love. Her lips parted as if to argue. But before she could, Amara tugged at my jacket and whispered, Daddy, are you going to leave again? The question broke me. My knees weakened, and I knelt once more so I could look straight into their eyes. Never, I said, my voice steady this time. I will never leave you again. Kalpna stood frozen, caught between disbelief and the faintest spark of hope. For the first time that night, I saw her walls falter. The woman who had carried everything alone was finally daring to imagine she didn't have to anymore. But even as warmth wrapped around us, I felt a shadow stir within me, because I knew my world and hers were about to collide, and when they did, neither of us would escape without scars. The embrace of Asha and Amara lingered on my shoulders long after they let go. Their little hands still curled around my fingers as if afraid I would vanish. I held on tighter. For the first time, I wasn't afraid of the weight of responsibility, only of losing it again. Kalpna watched me with a guarded expression. Her tears wiped away, her strength rebuilt. It won't be easy, Bart Lee, she said quietly. Your world and ours, they don't fit together. The moment people see us with you, questions will come. Judgments will follow. And your empire doesn't forgive weakness. I stepped closer, my voice steady. Maybe, but the truth is, without you and them, I've been weak all along. I've built towers of glass that echo with emptiness. For once, I want to build something real. Her eyes searched mine, torn between mistrust and the memory of the man she once knew. And if the world laughs at you for choosing us? I almost smiled, though my chest ached. Let them. For the first time, I'll be laughing too, because I won't be laughing alone. Asha tugged at Kalpna's hand. Mama, can we go with him? Just tonight? Please. Her innocent plea cut through the tension like sunlight breaking through storm clouds. Kalpna knelt, brushing back her daughter's hair. Her voice trembled, though she tried to mask it with strength. If he means what he says, Asha, then tonight won't be the only night. Her words weren't just for her daughters, they were a challenge to me. I extended my hand to Kalpna, not as the CEO who had conquered empires, but as the man who had once been a boy dreaming in a library window beside her. Come with me. Let me prove it. Not with promises, but with days, with years. For a long moment, she stared at my hand, the weight of her struggles pressing against the unknown future. Then, slowly, she placed her hand in mine. Her grip was firm, yet trembling, a fragile bridge between her world and mine. The twins cheered softly, their laughter ringing against the stone walls of the street. In that sound, I felt something awaken in me, a joy so foreign, so overwhelming, that it made my eyes blur with tears I didn't hide this time. As we walked away from that cafe, my daughter's tiny hands in mine, Kalpna's presence beside me, I realized that the empire I had built meant nothing compared to the family I had just discovered. And for the first time in years, the lonely CEO wasn't lonely anymore. Because when I looked down into Asha and Amara's eyes, my eyes, I saw not just reflection, but a future. A future where I would never eat alone again. Rose, the end rose.